Welcome back, friends and family. This is the Mayor's Take, where you get a chance to hear directly from Mayor Stephen L. Reed about things that's going on in the city, entertainment, sports, family, and anything else that falls under that umbrella. This is the Mayor's Take. Mayor, how are you doing on today?
Hey, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Look, this
Good,
weather
brother.
is actually getting pretty good.
Hey, this is the best time of year, right?
Yeah.
It's not cold. It's not, 105 degrees outside. I feel like it anyway. So it's a good time to be outside and, be taking in the leaves coming in,
Yeah.
the cool, crisp mornings, a nice afternoon. So you can have some cocktails, you can have some beers,
Right,
you can watch some basketball, you can watch some golf, you
Yeah.
can watch whatever it is, baseball,
Yeah.
all those things. So it's a great time of the year.
Well, it's a lot that's going on in the city, and I got a few questions of some stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a messy person, but
Now, when somebody starts with a disclaimer, if somebody said they're not this, that usually means they are, but keep on going.
So I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna unpack this. I'm gonna try
All right.
to pick your brain in this. Number one, about relationships. There are a lot of things that are going on, positive and negative about relationships. Of course, you're married. You're a father. You're a husband. And when it comes down to relationship talk, I was talking to one of my friends. And they said, I don't think there's any more good guys out here. I was like, what you mean, no more good guys? There's good guys that's everywhere. And just picking your brain, how do you feel about that when people say, like, this in the city of Montgomery, ain't no good guys in Montgomery? How do you feel about that? What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think it's a matter of, where you fishing, right?
Okay.
So if
Gotcha.
you go catch, where you fishing, what kind of bait you got out there.
Right,
So,
right.
that's what we were always told kind of coming up, right?
Yeah.
But no, I think it's good people in the city. I think the city is growing. I think it's a different type of vibe. It's a lot different than my day of going to the Rose or American Pie. Or,
Right.
All the places that
Yeah.
that we might go to hang out and that sort of thing. Boardroom, now you got me thinking. But all the different places that we would go to socialize. Now people do it on their phones, swipe
Correct.
left, swipe right.
Right.
So that's a whole different thing. So you got to be able to get off of the phone and get out of that, and then get into the social spaces. And then what I would say, because I have heard this too, is that the city doesn't have enough nice venues for people to check out for professionals. So what I say to whoever brought that to your attention is give us some ideas.
Yeah.
And maybe we can try to figure out some ways to facilitate that. So if it is, something, a day party, if it is something on the Sunday afternoon, if it's something else where it's some matchmaking going on, or if it's just something during the week,
Yeah.
give us some ideas and maybe we can try to bring some business people together and try to have that environment. Because you need a nice social scene for people that are working hard.
And downtown Montgomery is a great place. Me and my wife, we literally we'll walk down through the amphitheater, all the way around downtown, cross over the train track, walk through the Biscuit Stadium, through the alley. We still have stuff you can do.
Oh, absolutely.
What are some of those venues you would say, hey, downtown Montgomery would be a great spot for dating, matchmaking, for somebody to go to? Now, I'm a Windsors fan. I love Windsors.
Okay, like the oysters?
So I don't do the oysters. I do the crab legs. I get them fried. The appetizers.
Yeah.
I do those. And then if I don't go there, I'm going to go to Zaza's.
All right, fair.
So if there was a place you could say, you know what, downtown does have this to offer, or just the city of Montgomery, where would you post they would go?
Man, one, we got the museums, right? So you got the cool, historic sites to check out. And I don't think enough people really know the history behind a lot of the places that are right here in their backyard. So I started there, and then, we had out on Dexter in March, we had that initiative going. That was very, very popular. And now they've got all of these folks who are out on the weekends playing music outside, just kind of having that whole feel of, maybe a New Orleans, maybe a Charleston and places like that. So we're really trying to increase that. And now we just got Eugene's Hot Chicken.
I
so
saw.
that'll be opening up, very soon. You got CC's Daiquiris.
Okay.
So you got that. You got Ravello. Great food there. And you got Central. So those are some great spots. And then if you want to grab some coffee, you got, Prevail. And, of course, you got the Starbucks. And I think the lobby at Trilogy is cool. Now, a lot of people talk about the rooftop, and that's great. But I kind of like the lobby with the bookshelves and the paintings, all that, just for a place to chill. And then now, walking, EJI has done so much with its park right there. And then you can kind of walk from the Legacy Museum down to the sculpture part.
Right.
And that to me is a cool walk. It's a nice walk. We're doing some improvements there are in the works. So to me, you got that. And like you said, always the river walk.
Right.
Being able to walk along the river
You
is
can't
always
forget
nice.
Panini George.
Oh, absolutely.
That
Now,
fried
you
chicken
know what?
there is
So,
there.
so let me say this. Great food. Love the food. I'm just trying to,
Cut
you know,
back.
slim. Look, when you're on the rubber chicken circuit, man.
Right.
You got every community lunch, every church
Right.
lunch, every civic organization lunch. You know, they don't like you to say you're not eating.
Right,
So
right.
It's like, all right, you got to eat, but then you look up, you're like, man, wait, this doesn't fit me quite
Exactly,
like it did.
exactly.
So that's why I haven't been able to enjoy Panini George too much, but great food.
So, and then there's a new buzz about Montgomery being a growing top-tier city.
Yeah.
When I drive downtown, we got new parking decks.
Yeah.
We got some new structures that's going on within the city. Is that part of the growth and improvement to show Montgomery is growing? And also to add on to that, what are some new growths that you're waiting to see to come in Montgomery?
Well, listen, no question. I think that the big thing, you know, we're looking for is to see, you know, more lofts, more apartments downtown, more retail establishments downtown to bring people there on the weekends. You'll probably see us closing off streets more in the spring and summer on the weekends, just kind of create that pedestrian-friendly space that we want. So you're going to see a lot more of that because we want people to come and eat outside. So we want people to eat on the sidewalks.
Yeah.
So as we bring food trucks, we'll be setting up tables just kind of to bring that energy and that sense of community outside.
Yeah.
So it's not just inside, you know, the restaurant. So we want to see housing. We want to see retail downtown. And then we've got, you know, some, I was mentioning some hooks a little earlier in the conversation. We got some hooks in the water for some real big retailers that we think will help us change the entire fabric and environment of downtown Montgomery. And that's to go along with, you know, the convention center plans and the downtown arena plans that will take some time, but it's something that when we're talking to developers, we're talking to them about what Montgomery's going to look like in 2027, what it's going to feel like in 2028. And that's the type of energy and that's the type of vibe we want.
And so, and this is me just digging. You can answer how you want to. With bringing in new businesses and bigger companies, I don't think some people like that. And at the end of the day, for growth to happen, we have to have bigger businesses that bring in jobs. It brings a more feel for people to want to get out the house and be a part of the community and the city. But unfortunately, being that you're the mayor, you're going to get blamed no matter what. How do you take on that weight? Just knowing no matter what happens, I'm going to get the blame. How do you deal with that?
You know what? It comes with the position, right? So you got to be able to deal with the highs and the lows. You got to have tough skin. And you can't, you know, allow yourself to kind of get too burdened by what you see on social media or what somebody's posting on this app or another one. You know, for us, you know, everybody wants progress, right? But no one wants to go through the process to get that progress.
Right.
And that's human nature. So you have the challenge of, well, we want to see this, but we don't really want to deal with, you know, some of the things that come along with that. And for us to grow as a community, not even just downtown, west side, north side, south side, east side, we got to do things a lot differently to get different results. And right now it just so happens that downtown development is in for retailers, it's in for a lot of businesses, and we're able to sell the history. We're able to sell how many people are coming here tourist-wise, and then we're able to talk to those folks and say, but we don't have these things that you may see in a Nashville. We don't have some of these things that you may see in a Columbia, South Carolina. We don't have these. Why don't you bring that here? And that's all type of businesses and all types of attractions that we really want to see, because we look at downtown, it's not even just Montgomery's, but being really Central Alabama's downtown. So when you think about an 80-mile region going, you know, all around, you draw a circle around Montgomery, that's almost at the state line. But that's something that we want people to think about in terms of coming here for the day or coming here overnight to hear a concert, to see a play, to come here, hear a comedy show. All of these are things we've been working on to bring comedy clubs, jazz clubs, and things along those lines to Montgomery. So we're constantly selling, and we're constantly talking about the great things that are happening and the great people we have who always tell me if they see me anywhere out in the streets, you know, I'm tired of going to Birmingham. I'm tired of going to Atlanta.
Right.
But
yeah.
now the thing I'll say is when we bring it,
Y'all got to come.
You got to come.
You got to show up.
You got to come and you got to pay. You can't wait till the last minute to pay.
Right. Because we go to Atlanta and pay $20 for parking, $20 to get in,
That's right.
and then for the food or whatever we're going to.
Oh,
but
no
then
question.
if it's a free event,
That's right.
with respectable artists, food, vendors, the whole nine, and it's free, it's a problem.
No question.
But I do love that the growth is happening. Again, you're going to have people that's going to say how they feel in their opinion.
Yeah.
Like I said, growth is a process. And speaking of that growth, I was on your social media and I seen you speaking at a school.
Yeah.
And I know you speak at several different schools, and of course you're in the community. There's something happened. I'm gonna say episode 1. We talked about the superintendent, and there was a live viewing of the process and this interviewing. And all of a sudden, a couple of days ago, maybe about a good 7 sanctified days ago, something happened with this superintendent.
Oh, yeah.
Now I can't blame you. I'm not gonna do that live. What happened? How? The things that I've heard as far as, of course, I feel that they already knew who they wanted, but their process was a little different. But yet we're trying to bring this growth not only to the city for entertainment and good livelihood, but for our educational system as well too.
Yeah.
This superintendent ordeal, can we fix that? Is that something you fix? How do you feel about it? What is your take on that?
Man, we could do a whole episode on this alone. So let me figure out how to shape this up just a little bit.
Okay.
Right? My thing is we ought to want best in class in everything that we do in this city.
Right.
You know, I grew up where my parents and uncles and aunts and the elders said you have to be twice as good if you black to be equal.
Correct.
All right, to be equal, you got to be twice as good. So for us in our school system, we have to get a great leader to help us close the gap. We know that we're behind, and while we've been making some progress, we're not where we need to be when it comes to reading and math scores. Yeah. We're not where we need to be when it comes to absenteeism. We're not where we need to be in terms of policy and administering our schools, much less the programming and the academic offering. So we know we've got work to do.
Right.
My point is you don't push out a superintendent who is nationally recognized in his craft for what he does because you don't get along with him.
Right.
If he's doing good by the kids, if he's doing good by the teachers and the parents,
right,
then he's not really, it's not necessarily the number one priority for him to get along with the school board members, okay?
Correct.
Can we work together? We don't have to be bosom buddies.
Right.
We don't have to be kickback, kings. We just have to be able to understand we're in it for the education. We're in it for these young people. So when you push them out, my thing is if you're going to trade, then you don't trade down.
Right, you got to trade up.
You got to trade up.
Right.
All right. So, you push them out and then you have a process which is not forthcoming and not transparent. So it undermines the trust in everybody you depend on to help with the schools in a lot of different ways, and you don't have a better replacement.
Right.
So my challenge is how do we expect to get better when we don't do better?
Correct. Yeah.
And that's the issue with how the school board handled this superintendent search. Dr. Bird may be a nice guy.
Yeah.
But he's not, I don't believe, the type of person to lead us forward. Maybe a nice man, but listen, I'm going to ask you this question. When you have that toothache, or let me get a little more serious. When you have that real pain in your side and you don't know if it's an appendix, you don't know what it is.
Right.
Do you really want somebody who you can get along with, or you want somebody that's going to fix the pain?
I want somebody who can fix it.
Okay, I want somebody that's going to fix the pain too.
Correct.
Now, if we get along before, you tell me what's going on, you examine me, that's fine.
Right.
But I don't really care if you do or not. Just don't be rude.
Right.
And that's fine. But the main thing, I want you to get rid of this pain I got in my side.
Right.
My point is, if we have a pain in our school system, it's not about who we know. It's not about who we can get along with and who will go along to get along. It's about who's going to fix that pain of education for our young people. And that was my issue with how this search went on with the school board.
Could you say that sometimes people are not happy or don't know how to adjust with new? And I tell my sons things certain times, it's not hard, it's just new.
No question.
You haven't done this before. Your muscle memory hasn't got to that capacity to know how to do it. And I think sometimes because we do have good friends, and this is the utmost respect to anybody in any high position, but sometimes if you want the best, we might need to put something new in there
Yeah.
to bring change. Because at the end of the day, it's about these kids.
Yeah.
It's about these teachers. My wife's a teacher, so and she works in the school system. And there are certain things with organization and leadership that I think we all can work on. But again, I think a lot of us are afraid of new.
Yeah.
And that makes people iffy about bringing new in a system.
No question.
What's your take on that?
Well, look, I think, again, if we want to improve, if we want to see new results, we can't keep doing the same old thing.
Yeah.
And I think for us, we have to really challenge ourselves and acknowledge that we don't have the best outcomes when it comes to education.
Yeah.
And we've got to challenge parents. We got to challenge teachers. We got to challenge everybody to do better, because in this environment, with AI all around us, it is so important for young people and our young people to learn and to be able to have the opportunity to get a great job and a great career.
Yeah.
We're bringing in the jobs. We've added almost 5,000 jobs since I became mayor. These are high-paying jobs. We aren't going after, low-level kind of hourly jobs and things. We're going after high-paying jobs. The number one thing that the companies ask me when we're recruiting them is, do you have the workforce to work here? Do you have the people that can take on these advanced manufacturing jobs, that can take on some of these jobs at this Meta data center?
Yeah.
Do you have that type of capacity? Or we're going to have to ship them in from somewhere else? Well, first thing I'm saying is, yeah, of course we have. Our students are bright. They're capable, but we have to do our part as leaders and adults. And that's not always taking the easy way out.
Right.
We got to be able to assess who is really adding value and who may be okay, but they're not the person you're going to ride to the championship.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not the person that's going to take you to the promised land.
Yeah.
They may be a good role player, but they're not the person, the bell cow that you can put your franchise on the back and say, take me through these playoffs, take me to March Madness, and I want a nice ring on my finger at the end of this.
Yeah.
And we just got to be real about that.
Now, do you feel like you're going to take the blame in that too?
You know what? It seems like, when you're the mayor, you take the blame for a lot. But my thing is, whether I get the blame or I get the credit, for me, it's about the outcome.
Yeah.
And it's about the results, that we bring for everyone that's in our public schools. And there's no greater indicator, no greater connector to public safety and economic well-being than education.
Correct.
So when people say, well, why is the mayor involved? Well, it's because education impacts our ability to recruit jobs, impacts our ability to keep jobs here. And then it has a direct correlation to who's getting in trouble, who's skipping school, who's breaking into your car, then who goes from that to breaking into your house and your business to robbing you. And then the next thing you know, we got that person being arrested for, a capital offense.
Right.
And it started because we weren't engaging them in school.
Right.
And we didn't have the necessary tools and the necessary innovation to make school interesting enough to them to help them overcome their challenges and fears as young people. And so we deal with it on the other side, and nobody wins when we're arresting that person and putting them in jail.
Now, and I'll say this just to piggyback off that, I did hear also when you were talking about the crime rate and kids being in school, we've had a deduction of the crime in the city of Montgomery.
Yeah.
I think you're to blame for that.
Right.
Honestly, and that has been very good. I've personally seen a better police presence within the city of Montgomery. A lot of people say in the summertime, that's when everything gets wild because there's kids out of school and stuff like that. But I do know there are community centers that's going to be opened up for the summertime and different activities for students to be a part of. But how do you feel about that accomplishment being made where people say, well, the crime rate is just horrible and what are we going to do? What can you do about it? Go check the statistics.
Yeah.
It has dropped. How do you feel about that?
Well, listen, we're proud to see the data be what it is. From our standpoint, it's one of those things that we aren't going to rest or we aren't going to relax. We know it's a community effort.
Yeah.
It's an effort through Montgomery through Montgomery Police Department, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and the folks at ALEA, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency. Everybody coming together to work on this.
Yeah.
But it is good to see that first quarter drop of, 15% overall, 22 and 24% in some areas.
Yeah.
We still have too many people resorting to violence as a means of resolving a dispute. So we still got some work to do there.
Yes.
But I think as we roll out the community violence intervention program, as we continue to staff up our Office of Violence Prevention, with more people. And then we just cut the ribbon on the Chisholm Community Center,
Okay.
$2.5 million there. We're about to do Sheridan Heights coming up, and we're about to do the Courtney Pruitt Community Center out there on Calmar Drive. So you're going to have, 3 to 4 brand new, essentially, community centers that have been repurposed and redone, open up with new programming, gaming, health and wellness, financial literacy, entrepreneurial programs, all these things with a different approach and a different mindset for the staff and those people coming in to use it also. So we really think that with this combined effort of wraparound services and support, that we'll continue to push crime down, but it's going to take all of us to make sure that we are doing what we know to be right by young people, and then offering young people and adults who've been on the margins opportunities and other pathways that get them out of the life so that they aren't becoming another negative statistic in our community.
Which is great. So there's 2 more things I know you got to get ready to run in a minute, but I heard today, probably a little bit before we started the podcast, there's something like with the Harlem Children's Project that you just became a part of. Excuse me if I said the name wrong.
Yeah, Harlem Children's Zone.
So tell me about that and what that would do to help affect on a positive manner for the school systems and the kids within our community.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to take a look at the Harlem Children's Zone and Jeff Canada, who's been in this space for, decades doing this kind of work of taking cradle to career opportunities for young people as well as their parents and caregivers and preparing them for college, preparing them for a different economic future than the one they may see before themselves right now. So it involves education, it involves after-school learning activities, it involves adult education, it involves workforce development. It is a comprehensive plan, and so we were chosen out of numerous cities to be a part of this Mayor's Neighborhood Academy, and we're excited about it. We're excited about the impact it can have right here in our city and on the lives it will have over the next few years. And I think when you bring in proven models, what we're talking about with, the school board, when you bring in proven models of people who have taken nothing and turned it into something, that's who we want to partner with. That's who we want to collaborate with, because those are the best in class organizations that around the country are transforming lives and transforming communities. And that's what we're really, really excited about, is to look at a new model of education, longer school days, some Saturday activities as well as, making sure that students have the health care they need. They have the food that they need, that they have the mental health support that they need, that they have all of the things that are necessary to kind of create a positive presence for all of us, whether you're Stephen Reed or you're Stephen Smith, whoever it is. That's what we want people to have here in the community. And so by bringing Jeff Cannon and his team in from Harlem, New York, we believe it will be an opportunity for us to adopt best practices and to utilize their blueprint for how we change lives here in Montgomery, Alabama.
And which I do love, because that's something that is needed, not just for our city, but cities abroad, but partnering with the right people can make that light shine. And it's something parents ought to say, I don't know what's going on in the city and so much is going on. And I told somebody the other day, I said, why don't you go to a city council meeting? It's open to the public, right?
Last I checked,
Anybody can walk in, sit, listen, and hear what's going on so they can see where they can be involved and be a part. Because again, one man can't make all the decisions. It's a team effort. Like you said, when the school systems, the parents got to be actively involved, making sure students are not just getting there, but getting there on time and helping out with test grades, and PTA is real big. But then I was reminded, it's like they're recorded live. So even if you can't make it, you can watch it. So
Facebook, YouTube,
so you can't miss it. It's a want to. It's a want to. The Capital City Connect has an app, Capital City Connect. If you want to be a part, so you can ensure that it's not just placed on one person. It's a community effort. Get to the city council. Get to the city. When we got stuff going on, when we got events in the city, so you can tell somebody, if you can't make it, word of mouth is the best part of marketing. And once you tell somebody, it becomes a domino effect. I didn't know this was going on type deal.
question.
So I believe people getting involved with that, being a help, and just making the community be a better place, I think is great. So Capital City Connect, download the app, Facebook, YouTube. You can catch all the city council meetings and just see what the mayor's doing within the city. Final words. You got anything?
Hey, listen, it's springtime. It's fun time. So, to me, let's get out. Let's enjoy the city. Let's enjoy our neighborhoods, the parks, all the events that are going on. Let's enjoy these last few weeks of school for those of us that have kids in school. We know how that is. They got to get the homework, the end of the year projects in, these exams, all that. And then we got to figure out summer, which we hadn't figured out. I don't know if y'all have, but we hadn't figured that out yet. So we're still scrambling around my house.
I'm with it. They're going to have to keep their school stomach for the summertime. Amen. Hey, this is the Mayor's Take. My name is Daryl Hall. We have the one and only Mayor Stephen L. Reed. Thank you for your time today. Stay tuned for the next episode. Go and be blessed.